Friday night, around 7:30, Toby's Bar and Grill. I felt like I'd been hit by a damn truck. 2 straight days stuck in windowless conference room in Manhattan, going toe-to-toe with a bunch of suits from an international bank. Everybody was tired, pissed. 2 solid days locked in a sterile Manhattan conference room, hammering out the final points of a negotiation with a major international bank. Started the morning convinced we were deadlocked, staring down the barrel of failure. Then, inexplicably, the logjam broke. Obstacles that seemed insurmountable yesterday just evaporated. Maybe it was the sheer exhaustion on both sides. Maybe it was the sinfully large pastrami and Swiss on rye I inhaled from a tiny Jewish deli during the lunch break. Whatever it was, by 1:30 p.m., George Willis, their lead negotiator, slid the final revised red line across the polished table. "Enormous progress, Chris," he said with a tired smile. "Suggest we split the difference on these last 2 points." I signed off, scribbled my initials, and man, it felt like dropping a 100-pound weight. Done. Contract's getting finalized Monday. We shook hands, gave each other that tired, fake smile you do after a war, and then everyone packed up. The room was dead quiet except for the hum of the AC and my brain screaming for a drink and a pillow. Honestly, my first thought was to crash in the city, grab a room, order some greasy room service, pass out with the TV on. I was beat. But then I remembered. Trish was out of town anyway. Girls' weekend, she called it. Some big, cheesy plan she cooked up with her sisters, Julie and Karen. They were headed to one of those over-the-top Indian casinos in Connecticut. You know the kind. Gaudy lights, fake palm trees, bad cover bands. Day spas, overpriced massages, cucumber water. Nights full of fruity cocktails and throwing chips at a blackjack table like they're in a movie. Trish had been hyped about it for weeks. Like, really hyped. And hey, whatever. Let her have her fun. With the wedding just 8 weeks out, I figured she deserved the break. 8 weeks till forever, as she liked to say. She even had it written in one of those cutesy chalkboard countdown signs by our coffee maker. Anyway, I almost let the exhaustion win. Almost said screw it and booked a room downtown. But the idea of laying in another stale hotel bed, alone with some old AC unit rattling in the wall and bad lighting, nah, I needed home. My own couch, my own damn blanket. Maybe a glass of bourbon and the sound of quiet that didn't echo. So, Grand Central it was. Grabbed a ticket, slid onto the Metro North, picked up my car from the lot and pointed it north on I-91. By 7:30, I was rolling through downtown West Hartford. The streets were alive. Packed patios, people laughing too loud, the smell of burgers and spilled beer in the air. I was hungry. Not just hungry, but that deep, hollow kind of hungry that comes after adrenaline fades. Toby's Bar and Grill sat right on the corner. Sign glowing red. I'd been there a few times. Nothing fancy, just solid food, cold drinks, and nobody cares what you look like. Sounded like exactly what I needed. Quick dinner, maybe a drink, then home. Didn't know it yet, but walking through that door was about to change everything. Slid onto a stool at the end of the bar, ordered a local IPA, sat there for a minute letting my shoulders drop, eyes drifting up to the big-ass mirror behind the liquor shelves. Just watching the place fill out. Usual Friday night crowd. Couples sliding into booths, guys clapping each other on the back, waitstaff weaving through with menus and smiles. And then I saw them, clear as day in that mirror, slipping into one of those deep U-shaped booths near the back like it was just another night out. Julie and Karen, and right behind them, their husbands, Roy and Steve, all 4 of them, cozy as hell, ordering drinks, cracking jokes, acting like this was the plan all along. My stomach dropped like a rock. They were here, in West Hartford, not at Foxwoods, not at Mohegan Sun, not getting facials or sipping cucumber mojitos by some overpriced pool. Here, that tight, cold grip hit me dead in the gut. Everything in me just froze. They must be with Trish. The whole reason she was unreachable this weekend. Off-grid, remember? Supposed to be poolside, living her best spa life. If her sisters were here and not with her, then she wasn't with them, which meant Trish lied. Not just about some random detail, about where she was, who she was with. The whole weekend story crumbled in my head like dried paper. The wedding, 8 weeks away, 8 weeks until forever, started to feel like a bad joke. A ceremony built on a lie. The bartender slid my beer over. I didn't even look at it. Got off the stool. Legs felt like they were made of static. Pushed through the doors and stepped outside into the night air. Cool breeze. Didn't help. My skin was still buzzing. My heart pounding somewhere in my throat. Pulled out my phone. Hands weren't steady. Found her name. Hit call. 2 rings. Then that voice. Way too peppy, sugar sweet, like she was reading lines in a rom-com. "Hey, my love, how's the big city? Deal done?" My jaw clenched. Oh, Trish, don't do this. "Hey, you," I said, trying to sound chill. But my voice came out tight. "We actually closed the deal. Signed and done. Big win." Pause. 1 beat. 2. "Just grabbing dinner now. It's been a hell of a couple days. Kinda wish you were here." Let the words hang. Just enough sting in there to see if she flinched. But nope. "Oh, you're so sweet. I miss you too," she chirped. Bright. Perfect. Too perfect. Like she'd been rehearsing. "We had such a blast today," she went on, syrupy and fake. "Literally lounged by the pool all day, sipping pina coladas. I swear, I haven't been this relaxed in forever," she added, tossing in this little giggle she always used when she wanted to sound cute. Only now it sounded rotten. "Meeting the girls downstairs for dinner in a few. That fancy steakhouse I told you about. Big night ahead." Every word landed like a nail in the wall, carefully hammered, perfectly placed. "Sounds fun," I said. The words felt like glass in my mouth. "Have a great time with Julie and Karen." "Love you. Can't wait to see you Sunday. Talk tomorrow." Click. I looked down. My hand was clenched so tight around the phone my knuckles had gone white. That hot wave of adrenaline came rushing back. But this time it was cold. Razor sharp. My mind snapped into focus. Pulled up the Find My Phone app. The one we set up for emergencies, for peace of mind, remember? The irony wasn't lost on me. Typed in her info, the map loaded, spun, zoomed, ping. There it was. Not Connecticut, not a casino, not even in the same state. Falmouth, Massachusetts, way the hell out on the edge of Cape Cod, right near the water. Cluster of little beach cottages I hadn't thought about in years. And then it hit me. Nick Flaherty. The name dropped into my brain like a brick. Trish's old neighbor. Guy with that dumb grin and smooth talk. Always a little too friendly. She'd laugh off the flirting like it was some inside joke. "Oh, we go way back." I'd shrugged it off, like an idiot. His family owned a beach place in Falmouth. I'd been there once, years ago. Big old weathered house, practically falling into the sea. His wife, Sue, had cooked lunch. Nice woman. Quiet. Always looked a little uncomfortable when Trish was around. Nick, married Nick, and my fiancé, in his family's beach cottage. It hit me like a gut punch, made me dizzy. I staggered back a step, like the air around me had turned toxic. I knew exactly where to find the truth. Scrolled through my contacts, fingers moving on autopilot. Found her, Sue Flaherty, then hit call. "Hello?" Sue's voice came through soft, friendly, just a hint of curiosity. "Sue? Hey, it's Chris. Chris Harrington." "Chris, oh wow, what a nice surprise. How are you?" "Getting excited for the big day?" That genuine tone of hers, happy, warm. It dug the knife in deeper. I swallowed hard. "Yeah, Sue, listen. To be honest, I'm not sure the wedding's still on." I let it hang a second, just long enough to shift the air between us. "This is gonna sound super weird," I continued, keeping my voice steady. "But is Nick traveling this weekend? For work or something?" "Nick?" she repeated like she hadn't expected his name in this convo. "Traveling? That's odd. You know him. The man doesn't leave the house unless there's a game or a grill involved. But yeah, actually, yeah, he said he had to fly out Friday morning, last-minute thing in Philly. Client crisis or something. Why?" Her tone shifted. Tense. She knew something was off. "Chris, what's going on? Is everything okay?" I took a breath. Here we go. "Sue, please don't freak out, okay? I need to ask something. Do you by any chance have Find My Phone set up for Nick's number?" There was a sharp inhale, like she'd been punched in the gut. Then dead silence, stretched out and brittle. I could hear was her breathing, shaky, uneven. Then a whisper, barely audible, fragile. "Oh, God, not again." A sob, muffled but sharp, cracked through the line. I didn't say a word, just let her sit with it. The kind of pain she was choking on didn't need interruption. Nearly a full minute went by. It felt like 10. He told me Philadelphia," she finally said, her voice shaking. "Said he a big client thing. I didn't question it. She cut herself off. I heard keys tapping, fast, frantic. Falmouth, the cottage. Her voice cracked wide open. He's there. I'm so sorry, Sue, I said quietly. It felt weak. Trish is there too. I tracked her phone. It's same spot. They're together. She sobbed again, raw, ugly, no filter, but then it stopped. The next words out of her mouth were ice. That cheating son of a witch, she hissed. I swear to God, Chris, I'm calling him right now and telling him to pack his crap and never come back to this house again. Then it hit me. Not emotion, not grief, just strategy. Sue, wait, I cut in, urgency all over my voice. Don't call him. Not yet. What? Why the hell not? She snapped. Her anger was boiling now, shaking through every word. Because Trish isn't supposed to be back till Sunday. Nick too, right? Yeah, she growled. Okay then, just listen. I took a breath, pulling it all together. Let them have their little filthy weekend. Let them roll around in it, thinking they're clever. But we use that time. We strike smart. 24 hours, Sue. Just one day. Then we hit them. Hard, at the same time. No warning, no heads up. Synchronized. There was a pause. What do you mean? She asked, her voice low. I started walking in circles around the lot, energy burning hot now. It was all clicking into place. Tonight, I'll change the locks on my place. First thing tomorrow morning, I'll pull half the wedding account. The exact amount I'm entitled to. Every penny. Then I'll pack all her crap. Clothes, shoes. I stopped pacing and looked up at the sky, steadying my voice. You, I said, sharper now. You call a lawyer Monday morning, first call of the day, ask how to protect what's yours. Cancel every card you share. Lock down your accounts. Get ahead of this, Sue, before he even knows what's coming. There was a long pause on her end. Then a breath, shaky but steadying. Okay, Chris, okay. Her voice had changed. Still wrecked, but yet solid. Let them wallow in their filth for one more day. Then, she exhaled. Boom! Boom! I said back, flat and grim. And Chris? She added quieter now. Call me. Anytime. If you need to talk or scream or we're in this together now. Thanks, Sue, I said and meant it. We hung up. I stood there in the dark for a minute, phone still in my hand. My fingers were trembling slightly, but my head, clear, focused. Time to move. I scrolled to the next number. Hit call. Billy Jones, I said when he answered. Hey man, I need a big favor, just need the locks changed. Tomorrow morning, early, new garage code too. Keys only for me. There was a pause. So, wedding's off. Dead, buried, and cremated, Billy. Unless there's some alien abduction story I haven't heard yet. Okay, he muttered. Yeah, man. 7 too early? Perfect, I said. I owe you big. Nah, man. Neighbors, friends. Just... Chris, I'm sorry! Click. I had a plan. Cold, brutal. I turned and headed back into Toby's. Julie and Karen were still there, whispering now, leaned in close, heads together, glancing toward the door like they felt something shift in the air. They helped build the lie, helped her pull it off. This couldn't wait till tomorrow night. This match needed to hit the powder now. I grabbed a fresh IPA from the bar. The glass was slick with condensation, cold enough to bite. Took a long pull, let that bitter punch brace me for what was coming. Then I turned, walked straight to their booth. Same bar stool I'd used before. I picked it up slow and steady, swung it around, set it down right at the open end of their little horseshoe table, blocking the exit like a gate being shut. Climbed onto it, leaned in, elbows on the polished wood, hands clasped loose in front of me, not a word. Just stared. Let my eyes drift, slow and deliberate. From Julie's frozen, pale face to Karen's twitching eye. Watched the blood drain from both of them as silence sat heavy like a loaded gun on the table. Steve cleared his throat, eyes widening when he saw me. Chris, man, good to see you, he said, his voice genuinely surprised. Didn't think you're in town. Roy leaned forward, nodding. We thought you were staying in the city all weekend. Everything okay? Their faces weren't open. No clue what was coming, which made what I was about to say hit even harder. Still, I didn't say a word. Watching Karen's fingers fidget with her napkin like it owed her something. Watching Julie look everywhere but at me. I finally turned my eyes from the sisters to the men. Locked in on Roy first, then Steve. Maybe you should ask your wives what's going on. That landed like a slap. Both men turned, hard, to Julie and Karen. Karen opened her mouth, but only a whisper came out. "Chris, please." Her voice cracked like thin ice. It's really not what it looks like," I laughed. One short, sharp bark that hit like a gunshot. "Oh, I think it is, Karen." I leaned in again, elbows back on the table, my voice dropping with weight. "I think it's exactly what it looks like." I pointed one finger at the table. "It looks like my fiancée isn't at some overpriced spa in Foxwoods right now." Pointed again. "It looks like her sisters, the ones who were supposed to be with her, are here sipping cocktails and hoping nobody connects the dots." And then I locked eyes with Karen. "Most of all, it looks like Trish is holed up in a beach cottage in Cape Cod. Not alone, not with her sisters, but with her married neighbor." I let that last word hang. "Nick Flaherty." Silence. Karen gasped, hand flying to her face like that was going to shield her from the explosion. Julie fell apart. Loud, sloppy tears, shaking her head, eyes wide with panic. "She loves you, Chris. She does." She was just stressed about the wedding. "Stressed?" I repeated, my voice sharp, rising despite every ounce of control I was trying to hold on to. So stressed she needed to bang someone else's husband for the weekend? And needed her sweet, devoted sisters to cover for her? I leaned in, heat rolling off me. You two were standing in my kitchen Tuesday night, laughing, pouring wine, talking about this little girls' trip, looking me straight in the eye while you built a huge lie. "We didn't want to hurt you," Julie wailed, voice cracking like cheap glass. "Lie!" My hand came down hard on the table. Bam! Glasses jumped, ice clinked, and heads turned from the nearby booths. "You didn't want to get caught. There's a difference, Julie." Hey, calm down, Chris," Steve said, reaching out, trying to throw that peacemaker hand on my arm. I snapped it off like it burned. "Don't touch me, Steve," I hissed. Then I turned on him and Roy, fury zeroed in. "Did you two know? Huh? Did either of you know where Trish really is?" They both looked like they'd just been slapped, wide-eyed, jaw slack. "No way, man," Roy said quickly, face flushing with anger that clearly wasn't aimed at me anymore. "You told me Foxwoods," he snapped, turning to Julie. "You sat there and lied, Julie." "Same," Steve added, voice tighter now, eyes locked on Karen like he was seeing her for the first time. "You said Trish needed a breather. Called it wedding prep stress." "What the hell, Karen?" I took a deep breath, the weight of it all pressing down, but somehow sharpening me. I stood. "The wedding. That crap's canceled." Karen started sobbing again, real messy this time. Mascara already halfway to her chin. "But the money," she choked out. "Daddy already paid for so much. The venue, the band." "Not my problem," I said, cold and flat. "Maybe Trish can ask Nick to chip in." That's when Karen lost it. Her face twisted. Pure rage, ugly and sudden. She snatched up her martini glass, the one with the olives still floating like little green lies. And before I could even move, she whipped it at me. Ice-cold gin hit me in the face, sharp, briny, burned like hell in my eyes. I staggered back a half step, soaked, blinking hard. Smelled like vermouth and betrayal. "You arrogant prick," Karen screamed, trying to lunge across the table. "Coming in here, accusing us, ruining everything." She barely got halfway before Steve grabbed her wrist. Hard, the kind of grip that leaves a mark. He yanked her back like a leash had snapped. "Karen!" he bellowed, voice shaking with fury. "Sit down!" The whole place went quiet. Steve looked from her to me. Saw the gin dripping from my face, saw the mess she'd made. And something clicked in his head. "You knew," he growled at her, his voice lower now, dangerous. "This whole time, you knew and covered for her." Karen froze. The fight drained out of her face like a busted pipe, replaced with fear. Steve shook his head, not yelling anymore. "Just done? If this is the kind of crap you think is okay," he paused. "Maybe you're just like Trish. Maybe I've been an idiot all along." Karen didn't answer, couldn't. She just sat there, stunned, silent, eyes wide. I wiped my face with the edge of my sleeve. Calm now, that post-impact clarity when adrenaline sharpens every word. "So," I said, looking at Roy, then Steve, "I need 24 hours. No contact with Trish, not a text, not a call, nothing. You guys gonna hold that line?" Steve let go of Karen's wrist with a little shove like she burned him. "Yeah, Chris," he said, jaw tight. "We're good. You've got my word." Roy was still staring bullets into Julie, who was sobbing into her napkin now like that was gonna change a damn thing. "Done," he muttered, clipped, cold. "Good," shook Roy's hand. Then Steve's. Didn't even look at the sisters. They didn't exist anymore. Walked out into the night, left the wreckage behind me, theirs and mine. Saturday blurred into one long, relentless mission. Billy showed up right at 7 on the dot, toolbox in hand, no questions asked. By 8, the locks were changed, the garage code reset, and only my new keys sat in my pocket. Heavier than they should have been, like they belonged to some new version of me that hadn't existed 24 hours ago. Then came the U-Haul. The purge started slow, methodical, closet by closet, drawer by drawer. Her perfumes, designer crap with names that sounded like fake promises, all tossed together, the sickly, sweet smell of them mixing with stale rage. Her favorite cashmere sweater, the one she wore last Sunday morning, curled up on my couch, sipping coffee like everything was fine, black garbage bag. No hesitation. Photos, us smiling on beaches, holding champagne on New Year's, swept into a box without a glance. Straight to the back of the storage unit. Memories sealed and shoved into the dark like they deserved to be. It wasn't emotional. It was surgical. 3 runs to Secure Store on Route 6. I paid cash. 3 months. Unit hash 142. Tossed the key under the rear tire of her Lexus, parked sideways like it had any place left here. She'd either find it or she wouldn't. Not my concern. Then the email. That took time. Crafting it. Honing it. No melodrama. No begging for sympathy. Just clean, cold facts. Infidelity, complicity, event canceled. Over 200 recipients, friends, family, co-workers, everyone who'd RSVP'd for a dream that turned out to be a con, scheduled for 6 p.m. sharp. At 5:30, I called Sue. She answered immediately, voice low, steady. Ready? She said. Same? I told her. We synced watches like we were going to war, because we were. 6 o'clock on the dot. I pressed send. The email flew, then I texted Trish. One line. Hope you enjoyed your weekend with Nick. The wedding's off. Blocked her number before she could reply. Just like that, it was done. Coordinated strike. Sunday night, around 8. I sat in the dark, a glass of whiskey resting in my hand. The ice nearly melted. No music, no TV, just stillness. Then came the headlights, cutting across the living room wall like a slow wave. Her Audi. She was home. I didn't move from the chair. Just watched the silhouette step out, calm as ever, like she expected something soft waiting for her. Maybe thought I'd be standing there with questions or tears. Maybe she'd rehearsed her lines on the drive over. Then she saw the yard. It hit her like a slap. Her dresses, bright, delicate, expensive, tangled in the rose bushes like they'd grown there. Her heels sticking up like thorns on metal stems. The cracked mess of blush, foundation, and crushed compact strewn across the walkway like evidence. And on the porch, her wedding dress, pinned and stretched onto that old scarecrow Billy made years ago, lopsided, veil sagging over its button eyes. It looked straight at her, blank and cold, just like I felt. She made a strangled noise, like something broke inside her. Then the scream came. Chris! What is this? What did you do? She rushed the front door, fists slamming into it, wild and furious. Open this door right now! You think this is some kind of game? You embarrassed me! You ruined everything! She pounded harder, voice rising, hands hitting the wood again and again. You have no idea what you've done. I stepped closer to the door, still calm, still steady, spoke through it without raising my voice. It's over, Trish. Your things are in a storage unit on Route 6, Unit 142. The key is taped under the back tire of your car. Please, leave my property. There was silence for a second. Then her voice dropped, tight and shaking. After everything I gave you? After everything we built? You think this is how it ends? She kicked the door hard and I heard the frame groan. No, Trish, you ended this, I said. You made the choice. Now live with it. Then I heard it. Click, 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 the sound of a lighter. She stormed toward the porch again, toward the scarecrow, toward the dress, flame in hand, face flushed, eyes wild. Fine, she shouted. If this is what you want, let's just burn it all. She held the flame to the edge of the hem, silk and lace, dry as paper. The fire caught fast, the flames caught fast. The synthetic fabric didn't stand a chance. Fire raced up the hem like it had been waiting. In seconds, the dress, her perfect, overpriced fairy tale dress, was gone. The scarecrow went with it, swallowed by heat and light. What had been a bitter joke was now a roaring torch, turning the porch into a stage lit by fire. She stood there frozen, face pale, eyes wide, chest rising and falling in sharp bursts, lit orange by the inferno she'd sparked. Then the wind shifted. A hard gust, sudden, fast, carried embers off the porch, right across the narrow space between our houses. Burning fragments landed on the sun-bleached roof of Billy Jones's old garden shed. Dry wood, flaking paint. It lit almost instantly. Trish spun in place, wild-eyed, looking from the fire she'd lit on my porch, to the blaze now spreading across Billy's shed, to the locked front door she couldn't break through. She froze, breathing fast, panic taking hold. Then she bolted, not toward the shed, but toward her car, yanked the door open, jumped in. Tires screamed as she peeled out of the driveway and disappeared into the dark. Sirens in the distance, getting louder. Someone had called, thank God. Fire trucks arrived first, fast and sharp. They killed the flames on the porch in minutes. Only char and scorch marks left. Then they turned their hoses on Billy's shed, now fully engulfed. The thing collapsed before they got it out. Total loss. Then the cruisers rolled in. Blue lights, radios crackling, officers canvassing, neighbors out on their lawns now. Pajamas, robes, phones in hand, whispering, watching. I opened the door a crack. Gave my statement clean and steady. Ex-fiancé. Returned from a trip. Argument, set a fire, fled the scene. They didn't need more than that. They found her 20 minutes later, pulled over on the highway. She was driving erratically, alone, crying. She was arrested on the spot. The courtroom was silent, the kind of silence that feels tight around the ribs. Trish sat at the defendant's table, chin high, but her hands wouldn't stop fidgeting in her lap. I sat 2 rows behind the prosecution table, next to Sue. Her hand was cold in mine, still, but steady. Your Honor, the prosecutor stood, buttoning his jacket. The facts are simple. Miss Clark didn't just destroy property. She didn't just run from the scene. She created a danger, a fire, that put lives at risk. She violated a standing protective order. She escalated repeatedly. She lit the match, literally and metaphorically, and we're all here today because of it. Trish's lawyer rose, soft-voiced and polished, trying to spin her as a woman under extreme emotional distress. Your Honor, my client acted impulsively. The events leading up to that day, emotional stress, public embarrassment, and personal loss, do not excuse her actions, but they do provide context. And she's prepared to comply with whatever conditions the court sees fit. The judge, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and eyes to match, didn't even blink. Miss Clark, she said, voice even. Stand. Trish did. Slowly. You're extremely lucky no one was hurt, because if they had been, we wouldn't be having this conversation the same way. I watched Trish sway slightly, lips pressed tight together. Losing control doesn't make consequences disappear. It creates consequences. The judge leaned slightly forward. So here they are. A beat. You will serve 2 years of probation. You will pay full restitution for the damaged property, including the garden shed you set ablaze and all related fire response costs. You will attend weekly court-mandated therapy, anger management, 200 hours of community service with quarterly progress reports to this court. Another pause. Final. No sympathy in the delivery. The gavel cracked once. Sharp. Final. Next case. The dress wasn't the only thing that went up in flames that night. It was her whole illusion. And she lit the match herself. 16 months vanished like steam off a mirror. And there I was again, standing at the altar. Same church, same stained glass. Suit fit better now. Shed the stress weight, replaced it with hours in the gym and a lot of anger to burn. Billy Jones stood beside me, steady as ever, one hand on my shoulder, quiet strength in his presence. The few groomsmen who stayed loyal, no smiles for show, just solid guys who had my back. The organ swelled, bridesmaids floated down the aisle. No forced grins, no secrets behind the eyes this time, just peace, hope. The kind that doesn't scream. It breathes, veil simple, hair glowing under the lights, eyes on me, blue, steady, holding something no storm could shake. She didn't sparkle like a fantasy. She stood like a home. When she reached me, her hand slid into mine. No tremble. We turned to face the priest. The vows began, the same words as before. But this time, they carried weight. Rings exchanged. A pause. A breath. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Relief hit me like sunlight breaking out through smoke. We turned, hand in hand. The crowd stood, ready to cheer. Then it shattered. A scream tore down the center aisle like a jagged rip through the world. No! It's my wedding! Mine! Gasps, screams, chaos. Trish bursting through the back like a storm with teeth, hair wild, face streaked with makeup and fury, a long, gauze-wrapped bandage down one arm from her last spiral. Guests scrambled, too stunned to stop her. You ruined everything, she shrieked, eyes locked on Sue. You stole my life! Her hand dove into her oversized purse, came out gripping something dark, metallic, flashing under the lights. A piece. People hit the floor, screamed, clutched loved ones. Sue froze beside me. I started to move, but it was too fast. A blur from the front pew. Roy. He tackled her hard, full body, knocked the wind right out of her. The piece went flying, skipped under a pew with a loud metallic crack. Steve was right behind him, grabbing her flailing arms, locking her down as she screamed incoherently. Wild, broken, dangerous. Roy and Steve held her fast. Both of them here today, not just for me, but because they'd come to know the truth about the rest of the Clark sisters too. Turns out the rot wasn't limited to just one. This wedding? Maybe it was our way of starting fresh. There's two. Sirens outside. Fast! Police charged in seconds later, wrestled her up from the carpet, dragged her screaming out of the church. More charges, public endangerment, violation of the restraining order. She was done playing games. And just like that, silence. The air felt heavy, stunned, like the whole church had inhaled and couldn't let go. Sue's hand trembled in mine. I looked at her, saw everything in her eyes. Fear, pain, disbelief, and something else. Resolve. We'd come through fire. We'd seen the worst. But we were still standing. This time, Trish didn't walk away. For violating the restraining order, crashing the ceremony, and causing public panic, she was sentenced to 8 months in county jail. The court had no patience left. After the sentencing, we never heard from her again. And we didn't want to.